Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate. I'm here on this internet space talking about trauma, talking about PTSD, childhood trauma in particular, although I have adult trauma too, who doesn't? Also talking about bipolar and neurodivergence, and just generally navigating this world as a highly sensitive individual. So today I want to talk about getting unstuck. And this is a pretty hot topic in the space of personal development, self-development, lots of self-help books and self-help gurus out there who claim to know how to get you unstuck. And I've certainly done my fair share of consuming that content, reading books, watching videos. Some things are helpful, some things are not. My general takeaway is that any sort of testimonial that you hear of someone that has overcome something, especially when it's something similar to what you're dealing with, is going to be inspiring to you in some sort of way, and just kind of a reminder that it is possible to heal and to get through and overcome. So that to me is what the real value is of self-help and sort of like gurus who are, sharing how they got through something. That level of inspiration to me is where the value lies. It's in the testimonial and not so much in like the specific things that they are doing or telling you to do. And the reason for that is simply just we're all such incredibly different people. Some of us have more masculine psyches, some of us have more feminine psyches, and our relationships with ourselves are incredibly different. Also, the way that the world reacts to us is going to be very different based on where you're from, how you look, your age, how you talk, what works for one person is most likely not going to work for you in the same way. I'm all for experimenting. I definitely, if there's something that somebody is recommending and you're like, hi, I've never tried that before, let me try that. Experiment, totally, go for it. But having the expectation that is prescription that a self-help guru gives you is going to work for you is just setting yourself up to be disappointed. Um, Take it for the value of somebody else got through something and overcame something. They're sharing their story. I know that it's possible, so I should keep going. Kind of just leaving the expectation at that level ensures that you're not going to feel like you are somehow deficient if you don't try the thing that they're suggesting and don't come to a great success just by that one thing. In my experience of becoming unstuck, and I have become unstuck, I was stuck in this very position where I just really wasn't making a lot of progress on my goals. In hindsight, like, I was making progress. I was healing, you know, my relationship with myself, and that was, I didn't have a lot of tangible evidence in front of me, marking off things on a list and producing a lot, but I was unpacking, history and trauma and healing the relationship with myself. But that was a period of transformation where on the outside it really looked like I was stuck, like I wasn't really moving much or very quickly. Um, this is a really common phase for people. It happens to many people. You're not alone. My cat's here joining us. You're not alone if this is happening to you or has happened to you. It's an incredibly frustrating time period, but I really believe Francis. All right. I'm gonna pause. Okay, we're back. He's so sweet, but ever since my other cat died, he's been incredibly needy. And I try to do the best I can to give him love, but sometimes I have to tell him to leave, and I might have to do that. Let's see if he'll stay. Anyway, being stuck, being in this phase of really not moving is a very frustrating phase, and I had to nix the cat. He's he's outside now. Anyway, you're not alone if you're in this phase of really feeling stuck. It is a phase of transformation. I like to think of it as really the stage when you're in a cocoon. If you find yourself like isolating in a lot of ways, which generally it's not considered healthy to isolate, but if you are in a really transformative phase and you feel like secure, that you're able to satisfy your needs, but you're kind of like the same people are not, vibing with you in the same way, and you kind of are feeling like you're moving into a different space, and friendships are not what they were, and you are, find yourself isolating and not wanting to go out a lot, that can be really a normal part of this transformative phase. um, but moving on, in general, getting unstuck is really about changing the relationship with yourself. There's specific things you can do, habits that you can change along the way, and your habits should change along the way. But the overall goal in becoming unstuck is about becoming more encouraging with yourself, for the inner dialogue, your inner experience to be one that is very encouraging and empowering instead of discouraging and disempowering and super hypercritical. So, in a lot of therapy work, we hear about the term reparenting yourself, and that's kind of what this is. It's reestablishing the balance of the protector and nurturer within yourself, and that means the kind of the disciplinarian, the inner archetype that is applying pressure and is like, come on, try harder, and the mother, the nurturer part of ourself that is endlessly giving you compassion and is always there to comfort you and to make sure you're not being too hard on yourself. When those things are in perfect harmony, you move very quickly, right? I'm going to try to do this analogy with my mic here. So you have a force here that is pushing, and then you have a force here that is pulling. So you have like a father and mother, and you move. One is pushing, one is pulling. When those things are harmonious, you're able to move right along. When you are pushing too hard and you're not able to really release, there's going to be an opposing pressure against that. You're going to create this resistance. So, all that to say, this whole journey of reparenting really is about balancing that push and pull energy in you, that pressure and that allowing, that a letting go force. I used to always think, when I would hear from people that I admired, various artists, musicians talk about themselves as a perfectionist or talk about themselves as, oh, I'm my own worst critic. I think that if you're someone who's really stuck and you're really criticizing yourself, you're thinking like, oh, I'm also my own worst critic. Why are they able to be successful and they're a critic to themselves, but for some reason I can't get over, like, I can't make myself do things with this incredibly critical thought or critical inner dialogue, critical relationship with myself. And I want to suggest that there's a difference. There is a critical thought, a perfectionist, like I have a vision of what I want to create and I can see when I'm falling short of that. There is a critical thought that is encouraging, and then there's a critical thought that is shaming. There is a critical thought that says, that's not what I'm envisioning, I can do better. And then there's a critical thought that says, that's not what I wanted it to, that is not what I was aiming for, I must just not be good enough. Do you see how they're different? Like the dialogue is different. One is a cheerleader and one is a bully. One is saying, I know I can do better. Keep going, keep going. And that perfectionist is about trying and trying again and kind of just like dismissing the failure, basically recognizing that it's falling short of what you're trying to achieve. And then immediately being like, well, I can do better. I know I just have to keep going at this. The shaming part, the shaming relationship with yourself is the toxic one, right? It's going to make you start beating yourself up, and it's going to make you start feeling really bad because you're shaming yourself. And then you're going to want to just up and get out of there. Like, you're not going to be able to sit down and focus on the thing you're wanting to do. You're going to flee from the scene. This is an idea that I'm going to talk about a lot on this channel because it really was something that was a huge epiphany for me and really helped me to move through and change this relationship with myself that has allowed me to ultimately get unstuck. And that is this idea of dismissing all the evidence to the contrary of the vision of what you want to be. So when you're doing behaviors that are not in alignment with the vision of what you see as like the peak version of yourself, dismiss it. Because when you attach to it and say, this behavior is evidence that I am not good enough, when you're shaming yourself for it, you're sending a message to your subconscious that there is something fundamentally fucked up with you, like that you are just not capable. You're telling your subconscious that this is not something that can be changed. When you're shaming yourself, you are telling your subconscious, this is not shapeable. This is not malleable. This is just what I am. I'm simply not good enough. When you recognize a behavior that you doesn't meet up to the standard that you're aiming for and you immediately just dismiss it, I mean, you can learn from it, you can acknowledge it, but you don't attach it to your ego. You don't attach it to your sense of self. That sends the message to the subconscious that this is just a habit and it can be changed. This isn't anything to do with me fundamentally. It's just a habit that is in motion. So that's my short little video today about getting unstuck. I'll just wrap up. Getting unstuck is about changing the relationship with yourself. It's not about these specific habits, this morning routine, these things that you're hearing from these self-help gurus who claim to like have the one key that's going to get you moving after a long period of not moving. Things can happen really quickly. They can happen overnight. I can remember times when I almost like wished that I would be like hit by a bus, or something would just like jar me out of my experience and just shake me up. Do not ever wish such damaging things on yourself. It's a lot more sustainable change when it happens slowly over time. And the sooner you can just accept that it's going to be habits over time that you're changing and that it is going to take time, the more you're going to be able to release around the process, which is we release, we can handle the pressure, right? We allow it and it moves us along. So yeah, focus on your inner dialogue and changing your relationship to yourself. I'll expand on this more in the future. It's not just as easy as saying affirmations, although affirmations can be useful. But remember, with affirmations, it has to be something that your subconscious believes is true. If you're trying to suggest something to your subconscious that it rejects, then you're just going to create all this mental coercion and resistance. It has to be something that your subconscious can believe. So, for example, in the process of getting unstuck and changing your relationship to yourself, you kind of like a hack to it is more or less to say, I am improving, because that's something that you can believe. Like, I'm here trying every day. Surely I'm improving. Like, surely that's something that your subconscious can believe. Because if you're showing up every day and you're trying, then surely, even if you're not seemingly producing a lot or making a lot of movement, you are figuring things out. And you are trying out new thoughts. You're trying out new frames of reference. You are going through the process, whatever it looks like, however long it takes. And it is true for you to be able to tell your subconscious that you are improving. So I hope this was helpful to you. Do give me a like, subscribe, all that extra attention from my channel if you would like to help me grow and see some more content. My plan is to do 2 videos a week. I apologize that I was absent this last week. I had to make a abrupt stop at my sister's and help her out with a couple things. So I had to leave for a week and then came back, and now I'm trying to play catch up. But yeah, planning on bi-weekly posting videos, and again, the content will be around therapy, self-development, wellness, and also some mental health topics along the lines of bipolar, neurodiversity, CPTSD, childhood post-traumatic stress disorder, and in general, PTSD is something that I've learned a lot about and have experimented a lot, and have some real insight about. So those are going to be the things that I'm going to be sharing. Thank you for your time and attention, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.